Hello and welcome to another video tutorial on Vicon Shōgun. Today we're going to be talking about the processing panel and when you might want to use it. Okay, let's start. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is to open one of our files. I'm going to open stored fingers and I want you to take a look at what Shōgun post is asking me. It is asking me if I'd like to run drop frame fixing. I'm going to say no for now, because we'll come back to that later. Okay, so it's going to process the whole file, and after it opens it, we're going to open the processing panel and we're going to go over it. So just a little bit more, and there we go. I'm going to hide my data management, and it looks like it looks like it did a really good job. So let's open the processing panel and take a look at it. So I want you to look very closely that we have now divided the processing panel into different sections. So if you look to the left, we have combined processing, and to the right we have operations. Combined processing is when you want to run a chunk of operations at the same time, and operations is when you want to run one of those individually. At the bottom we have its settings for the operations, so reconstruction, labeling, occlusion fixing, and solving. And at the top we have time range. So make sure that if you want to affect all of your data, time range is set to all. And the same for subject. Right here, if you have your subject selected, or one of your subjects selected, all the operations that we run here will only apply to that subject. So if you want to apply all of the operations to all your subjects, make sure you change it to active. So once we have time range set to all and all our subjects set to active, we can now start taking a look at the processing options. So in the beginning of the video, when I opened a file, an MCP file, Shōgun post asked me if I wanted to fix the real-time drop frames. I said no. Now, a way of fixing that is by clicking Fix Real-Time Drop Frames. So if I click on that, it will now take the information of the X2D data and it will reconstruct, label, and solve on the dropped frames. If I don't do that, if I don't fix them, what it will do is to interpolate the data between those dropped frames. It's not that there is a gap, it's just that the data that it is showing me is an interpolated data on the drop frames, right? But if I want to fix that, it will take the X2D data, reconstruct, label, and solve to give me the full data of the that it captured. So let's do that. Let's fix those drop frames. And this will take a while, so I'm just simply going to speed it up for you. Okay, it has now finished. Now remember that the processing time will depend on whether or not there were drop frames or a few of those frames dropped, or how long your take is. So time will vary. Now it has finished, and if I scrub through the take, I can actually take a look at what the action looks like. To me it looks very good. It's a really solid take, but let's say that you have a complex motion captured. If you have that and you're seeing that maybe your labeling wasn't very good, or maybe you had some markers that were ghost markers and you want to change your labeling settings or you want to change your reconstruction settings, you can simply change those settings here and then click on reconstruct or click on label and see if the automated labeler now will do a better job with the new settings that you changed. So make sure that you scrub through your take every time that you do a change in your processing and see how well it looks, because all this is automated, and even though we have improved it and make it really solid for you, maybe there is a little thing that you want to change or that you want to personalize for the take that you're doing. So if I scrub through the take and I think maybe this bit needs to be reconstructed or labeled with different settings, I can simply select that and change my time range to ranges, right, and run the operation. But I'm not going to do that just now. Now let's say that what you did, wanted to run multiple operations with different settings, right? Probably the best way of doing that is to go to the combined processing options, because it will give you the option not to click on one individual action, but it will let you choose, it will let you select which operations you want to run with specific settings. So if you want to change the reconstruction settings to any ones that you feel will give you better result, simply change them here, then change your labeling settings, and then, or maybe your solving settings, and then just simply select the operations here and click on run checked operations. Okay? Now, it is important to mention that even if you change all these values, right, they will be applied to the buttons here, except for the fix occlusion version. If you go to occlusion fixing here, and then untick apply fills to markers, and then untick back up, and then click on fix occlusion, this operation will always ignore the fact that you have those settings unticked. Why? Because at Vicon we want to give you the option to always have a backup. We always want to give you the option to come back to data that you have recorded. So if you click on fix occlusion, we will give you a backup clip, and we will let you know which markers are the ones that that we fixed in fix occlusion, right? If you can change the clip to the base clip and the backup clip. So make sure that if you are doing fix occlusion and you want these settings to be applied, you are running the fix occlusion operations under this menu. Otherwise, if you click on fix occlusion here, it will only be saved with the default settings. Okay? So the third reason that you would want to come to the processing panel is to also maybe tweak your solving skeleton, right? So let's say that your skeleton needed a little bit of a tweak and you want to do it. You can come to the processing panel and then you can resolve the whole motion after you've done the tweaks. So let me explain it a little bit better. Let me show you how I'm going to tweak my skeleton and then resolve the motion using the processing panel. So now let's say that if I go to one of these frames and I notice that maybe the position of this bone is a little bit too low, right? And I want to change it and I want to update all the constraints of my subject. I now have to select it and put it in the position where I think it is a good place. So let me see, if I move it up a little bit, just a little bit, yeah, that looks perfect. So maybe that bone is better located like that. I now have to go onto the subject parameters, and for my solving parameters and the Lula finger skeleton, right, I can now clear those parameters to make sure that the ones that I have done will get saved onto my BSS. So by clicking this button, I will remove all parameters from the calibrator before, and then I can now move the bone of my actor. Okay, remove that, and now, oops. And now I can simply, and now I can simply click on Control, Alt, right click, and then set update constraint offsets. Once I do that, I will have to resolve my motion, which is why we have the processing panel open still, and then click on solve solving. As soon as I hit that and the whole operation finishes, the position of that bone should be updated throughout the whole take. Okay, let's have a look. And precisely now that it has finished, let's see how that bone looks throughout the take. Now let me close this panel and then change my mouse. And perfect. So now that bone won't go above the range that I like it to be. And that's it. That's how you fix your VSS. Now all that it's left is go to the subject management panel and save that subject as a VSS. So if I select little fingers and then save that VSS and VSK, I will now have updated all the information for that subject in a manner that I was expecting to. Okay, thank you very much. Really appreciate that you watch these videos. Remember, if you have any question, please email us at support@vicon.com.